race fans, and welcome to round 2, race 2 of the URL Karting Go-Kart Championship 2024. On the back of the last round, it's myself that's taken the lead of the championship, but it was Horton that won and took the fastest lap in race 1, so he's just a point behind coming into this one. McLaughlin and Glover also closed up, just a point behind between those two, and Jackson, the big faller, down to 7th after leading previously. Tracy and Wass, nothing between them as well, so really close coming into this next race. So let's see how everyone gets on. Straight on board with myself here as we come round and go green, and we're just a few kart lengths behind Elliott, so we'll see how quickly we can chase him down. Closing that gap up as we come through this section. He's on the back of a group of drivers that seem to have been members. They've been on track for 3-4 sessions on the bounce. Reasonable pace, they were within the top 10 drivers each time. I think a couple of them were in the top 5, so some quick drivers. But Elliott seems to be keeping pace with him. No room for me there around the outside. Elliott has a little look. A little bit wider through there from Elliott, but there's no gap yet. There's a look over his shoulder, but we're not in a position to make a move yet. Chasing this pack down. All over the back of him coming into this section. Look to left, switch it back to the right. We're going to go for a bit of a dart. We have done. A little bit of contact there with Elliott. Side by side coming down here, shaking the kart to try and move it that little bit quicker, but it looks like Elliott has dropped out of the move. Very courteous. I don't think he needed to give way there. But perhaps it was impacting his own lap time a bit too much slide through that corner there, as you can see. Disappointed shake of the head from myself. Now onto the back of this pack up ahead. Here we go. Kart 20, I believe, is the infamous Kart 4 from the last one, and he's right where I didn't want him to be there. Really slowed us down on the ramp up. That's built a gap to the drivers ahead, but we've got past quite quickly. Let's hope we don't have to contend with as much drama from those drivers as we did last time. The yellow flags galore throughout the previous session. So here we go, we've really closed the gap up through that hairpin onto kart number 2. He's run a little bit wide, he has a look over the shoulder, he knows we're there, look to the inside. And we've made that one stick nice and early. No chance for him to defend there. He left the door open, and we absolutely sent it through. Another slide through there, though, finding much less grip going through those corners than we did in the first session. That's already causing us some frustration. Coming up onto the back of the driver in red here. He seems to really lean to the right as he's turning left. I'm not sure if that's some semi-pro technique that I'm not aware of, but whether the inertia of the corners just throwing him half out the kart, I'm not quite sure, but he really does seem to lean against the kart as he goes through them corners. Perhaps balancing that outside wheel. Maybe the physics do make sense somewhere, but we're closing the gap nonetheless. Really close behind now. It's a tight little section this, and he makes contact with the barrier there. He looks over his shoulder, sees we're there, and he moves to the side to let us through. Again, some very polite racing, but he killed our line coming into that corner, and you see him pulling back alongside us. Quick double check, but we have managed to just get clear of him. And now it's on to the final driver of this group, and I believe this was the quickest of the 3 with the white helmet. More shakes of the head. There was a bit of contact with the barrier on the way through there, completely unforced. And we seem to be coming up on one of the slower karts again, and we avoid drama here. And right out to the side and right out the way. I'm not sure if that was an intentional line given the way they were driving the last one, or whether it was just poor driving technique, but made it an easy move for both myself and the white helmet ahead. Here we go though, back up on another He stays out the way. Again, it just seemed like poor racing line cost him, but that has really cost the white helmet in front, and it's closed the gap right up for us as we got a clean pass as he was a little bit stuck behind. He's had a look, he knows we're there. We're not close enough to make a move yet. Closing all through this section. He seems to really throw the kart left as we get to the bottom of the hill. Again, perhaps a technique that these drivers have perfected over races that have been coming here. I was putting more brake on to control that line a bit more as he was really launching the karts in. You saw it again there in that hairpin, really dragging the kart to the left. He's looking and looking, defending the inside line. But all over the back of him now. He's not going to just let us through. Kart 11. Still all over him. It's a great little race. Really, I remember this being really enjoyable, but then he runs it a little bit wide through there. I'm not sure if that was an intentional time to let me through, or if that's just his wider line and I took it a bit tighter, but either way it's worked out and we're through. I certainly enjoyed having to get through that little pack. That was a lot of fun. We've sighted one of the slower drivers again. It's kart number 20, kart number 4 I believe it was from the last one, and again you could see the line was all over the place through there, and then he's got all the way over to the left. Just dangerous to have people like that on track sometimes. Follow this one through to the end of this lap. Reasonable line through there to get a good run up the hill. And there's a bit of a gap ahead of us, so I think we'll transition to when we catch them up. So here we go, back on the hunt again, coming up this hill. And who have we got? I think this is none other than Alex Tracy. Here we go. Didn't really feature in the last video, I don't think we saw him. Here we go. Right onto the back of him through this section. So a glance back yet, not sure if he knows that we're here. Keeps it tight through there, there's no way through for me. Got the one straight through there, we'll look up the inside, he squeezes us to that right hand side. He's really pushed us to the outside there. Had to back out and let him through. Bit of a slide from Alex there, that's put him right on his tail again. Can we get a run through it? Again, he slides a bit wide. I've had to try and compromise, and that's compromised my run all the way up this straight. See me trying to jump the kart up with a bit of a ramp there. Can we get him this time? It's a better run through the hairpin. We switch it back to the left. He's again pinned us right to that wall. It's a good defensive line. See that I'm frustrated with a little shake of the head. Alex is putting his kart right where I don't want to do. It's solid defending. Here we go, we've got the inside line here now. A bit of a launch in. And we've made that one stick. Good little race there with Alex. I think I probably owe him a bit of an apology as there was an accusation that I think he made a bit of an aggressive move into me, but I think being in kart 24, I think I'd confused it with the first race when Kurt, my brother, did give me a little shunt as we went down the straight, so my formal apology, Mr. Tracy, on that one. There we go, one of the only yellow flags of the session, and someone is parked in the barrier there. Look, we get a good view of it. Not sure which car it was, couldn't quite make that out, but you can sort of only assume it was probably kart 20 again. Back green though, and here we go. go then, we're on to the back of car number 20, once again going around the outside, and he's just put us straight into the wall. Unbelievable driving once again from car 20. We do make the move, but just a complete lack of awareness, a lack of a racing line, and had it been for that little group, I think both races would have been really good sessions here, because all the drivers were of a decent pace. A few drivers coming up ahead of us now. You can see we're just coming down the hairpin, and then we're just onto the back of this next one, and we close that gap up. Is it a championship driver? We're back on the yellow flags. It's not a championship driver, I don't think. And that, unfortunately, is the end of our session. So a better session than the first race by far. Much cleaner, but we'll see how the timings look when we get to the end. We jump now on board with the chef. Our P-Fair this time out.
Something that has to be done.
Camera seems to be possibly even further downward facing than it was for round one, so we've got a good view of his steering wheel and his pedals. Not a lot ahead of him. There are a few karts there you capture a glimpse of every now and then. Can't quite tell who they are from here. But slide through that corner, that'll cost him a bit of momentum. Kind of close up the gap and see some action. Through to the end of this lap, and then we'll look to jump forward to when he sees a bit of action happening. Here we go, there's a car ahead, closing up, can he make a move somewhere? It's our old friend, kart number 20. It's that bang in the middle. My chef wants him through there. Really tight on the way in, even really bad on the way out. It's such a poor racing line from kart 20. But that gives Chef a nice easy pass through there. Cutting forward. Chef's having a look over his shoulder. Is there someone putting some pressure on? To the back of the next car. The lines all over the place, and it's kart 22. So he's one of that group again, but here we go. That must have been where the pressure was coming from. It's McLaughlin. Comes flying through there. Gets the one up the hill. Can he hold it out round the outside? Just made it stick. It was a brave move from McLaughlin, particularly given how erratic karts 20 and 22 are in this race. Again, sliding there through that one and impacting the wall. Chef's backed out instead of making the move there. Probably a safer decision. It's going to cost him some time as he comes up to cross the line for that lap. Again, kart 22 wide in the barrier. He's on the inside now, Sheffield. Oh, he's absolutely cut the line off there. There was absolutely no quarter given. Nowhere for the kart 22 to go in that one. But he's got the move done for the chef. The next bit of action is up onto another couple of karts. Quickly can he close this gap? And will it be kart number 20 again? The line's completely, it is kart number 20 again, and it's that same awful line sticking to the inside on the way in the corner and running right out to that far wall on the way out. You'd think halfway through your second race here you'd have started to put together that was not the way to do it. When every other cart's coming past you at that corner, at some point it must twig that that's not the way. Apparently not for these boys. Who's in this gap ahead. It's a really wide to put it into the barrier. I'm sure that was. Odds on it being kart 22 are pretty high at this stage, I think. But couldn't quite see from the camera exactly what kart that was. Flag action. Looks like that was the driver that was parked in the barrier that we caught a glimpse of from my POV earlier. They just rescued ahead. He's only got the flag of the session, so it must have been that one. Let's put Chef onto the back of a couple of cars. Can he do anything with it? Here comes Horton, race winner, fastest lap setter of the first round, and he comes blitzing through there, to be fair. Really makes a smooth pass up the inside, carries the momentum through nicely, and he's all gone from Gaz's downward pointing camera already as we come down into the pit section. Is he on for another fastest lap and a win here, Horton? And the timings will tell us once we get off the track. And that's all she wrote. Under the flags now, so this is the end of the race as we crawl back round. See him catching up to Horton. Unfortunately for Gaz's perspective, not based purely on pace, but on everyone being at walking pace instead. So here we go with the fastest laps, and it was Horton again, a 59.2, a solid run there. It's a good lap time. myself half a second down despite getting some consistent clean laps in there. Couldn't improve. Davison jumping up to P3 with a solid 60.2. Elliot Blake in behind. McLaughlin P5 will be disappointed with that after being a front runner in the last race. G Miller P6, Glover, another man disappointed in P7. Wasp P10 ahead of Tracy. Hopkins with the camera on him sitting right at the back. So on the average laps, unfortunately for Horton, he didn't have the same level of consistency, and that gives the race win to myself. So he has to settle for P2 this time, though he did get the fastest lap, so we'll come out even on points for this one. Davison holds on for his first podium of the year, and G Miller jumps up and takes P4 once again. Glover beating McLaughlin by a position. Blake doesn't fall quite as far this time, sitting in P7 ahead of Cave, and Tracy jumps Wasp when it comes to the averages. C Miller drops off on the averages down to P11, and Hopkins couldn't recover on the average timings, sat at the back of the pack. So now the standings after round 2, race 2 is all completed, and it's myself who sits at the top of the championship as we head towards round 3. Horton just a point in behind. McLaughlin and Glover now find themselves tied on points after Glover bested him by a position, so they're both sat on 65, 12 points off the lead of the championship. Davison has closed that gap up in behind though with that podium finish in round 2 there, race 2. So he's up to 61 points. Could he be a challenger for that podium position? There was a lot of talk of him being a potential title contender when he joined the fray at the start of this season. Is this a sign that he's finding his feet in the championship and one to watch going forwards? The chef dropped some points on the top runners in that one with his last place finish. He'll be disappointed with that, though he still does hold on to P6 for now, dropping just a place. Cave gains a place, as does Tracy, as Jackson falls a bit further. Blake picks up 2 places. He's only a point off Tracy ahead of him now, so that's pretty close. And Was also tied there in on 43. So very close in that midfield. They're all split by not much. Jackson finds himself finishing round 2 in P11. So he came in as the championship leader. He's fallen another 6 places. He's now P11 as we look towards round 3. Gary Miller picked up an extra couple of places there. He's managed to jump Housley as part of that, who was also absent from this one. So he's up to P12, but 34 points from his opening 2 races. 2 P4 finishes. He can certainly be happy with that. If he can carry that form on going into the rest of the season, he could be on for one to watch climbing the table up certainly into that pack of the midfield after missing the opening round. Housley has dropped. He's down to 13th now. He only lost 1 more place in that round, but he'll be disappointed to have dropped off from his rival in Chef. He's now a decent chunk of points behind. C Miller gains a few more as he jumps Devine and McDermott, who were both absent from this one. So a solid outcome of 22 points from him. He can certainly be happy with that. His first fray out there in 2024 in this round. And then there you go, it's Devine, McDermott, Schofield, who all dropped due to being absent for this one. So thank you for watching. We'll look towards round 3, which is already in the diary for the end of March, as we head over to Parkwood. So it's our first venture outdoors, which will be interesting. See what the weather brings. We've had rain there previously. Fingers crossed that can add a bit of extra excitement. But also, it means that it's a triple header, as we have 2 qualifying sessions that go into a final. So we'll put full race points, full championship points available in each of those sessions. So it's a big one that you really don't want to miss. So that should be an exciting one. And not to mention that each session is a grid start, which is great for the camera. So hopefully we'll have a good one there, and we'll see you all in the next video. Thank you very much.